Oh, does it smell?
Yeah.
It smells like Nepalese marijuana. I mean, it smells kind of sweet. Thumbnail.
Yeah, I'll just have to say.
Get ready to explore a visual journey like no other as we present a captivating collection of intriguing photos. Each image offers a glimpse into unique moments, places, and perspectives that spark curiosity and wonder. From breathtaking landscapes to candid snapshots of life's unexpected beauty, this collection is a celebration of the extraordinary found in the everyday. Let's dive in and discover the fascinating stories behind these captivating photos. Number 26. Growing naturally in the Himalayas. The picture shows a lush emerald green hillside heavily covered with plants, densely grown in what appears to be a natural setting. Because the background is misty and is thus highland, it implies that the plants can only grow in that fresh and misty environment. The landscape is sloping with no sight of a human-made structure, thus appearing as if the plants are part of the natural landscape. This scene also speaks to the fact that wild has a natural habitat in parts of the Himalayas. The region's climate, altitude, and geography are perfect for the wild to grow. It is here that the ancient plant has been used in traditional exercises for centuries, so that the plant grew abundantly without any interference from man. In this picture lies natural beauty in its natural habitat within the Himalayas. Number 25. Childhood Friends. This is a tense, yet dramatically emotional photo of a labor strike in Saint-Brieuc, France, April 6, 1972. In the photo, a worker, Guy Bermiot, confronts Jean-Yvan Antagnac, CRS riot policeman. The tension is thick in this scene. Bermiot grabs Antagnac's uniform collar and his face wrenches in anger and frustration. It's interesting, though, that the history between the two men was a childhood friend who knew each other at a protest. The scene is an emotive one, with photographer Jacques Gourmanin capturing the incident in an instant. "All right, go ahead and hit me while you're at it," Bermiot confronts his friend, Antagnac, yet nothing breaks him. This photograph could be that iconic image of the interior struggle going on within a community where labor demands seem to gain priority over authority. The emotional play of this photo leaps beyond the moment into a medium of expression of how larger social turmoil can fracture personal relationships. Number 24. Boston moved its highway underground. The two pictures represent a spectacular evolution of the urban landscape of Boston. The city, in the upper picture, is shown in previous times, with the massive elevated highway cutting the central part of it. The road is dense with cars and buses, and concrete infrastructure on both sides. It splits the parts of this city. The scene captures how an elevated highway dominated the city space, leading to congestion and a scarcity of green spaces. In the bottom picture, it's the same place after Boston's Big Dig project completed relocation of the highway underground in 2003. The highway is no longer visible. It's been replaced with green parks and walkways. The area now comes alive with branches and flowers and gives rooms for pedestrians and cyclists. It made the area livable. It considerably reduced noise and pollution and reconnected what was once divided neighborhoods by the elevated highway. Number 23. Scottish surgeon Robert Liston doing surgery.
Robert Liston was a Scottish surgeon known for the incredible speed with which he would attempt surgery. This wasn't just a coincidence of his skill. Liston intentionally tried to complete surgeries, including amputations, as fast as possible.
Here's a picture of a dramatic surgical scene in the 1800s, where men are seen sitting around an operating table. The middle figure, possibly a surgeon, holds a large preparation for his procedure. The patient on the table is partially covered by a cloth as other men assist or look intently. The somber expressions on the faces of the men in dim light inside the room clearly depicted the gravity of the moment. This illustration is related to the biography of Robert Liston, one of the most renowned surgeons in Scotland, who received popularity through the fast and agile techniques he used within very previous times. His deadliest operation had a mortality rate of 300% because it was entirely and hasty. Patient during the surgery, the assistant from an infected wound caused by list, and the bystander from a heart attack due to the horrific scene. Number 22. Burst of Joy. The picture captures the time of great family and joyous reunions. It is when United States Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Robert L. Sturm meets his family after he's been a prisoner of war in North Vietnam for over 5 years. His 15-year-old daughter, Lori, covers most of the center and runs to him with open arms, an enthusiasm-filled smile on her face that beams with excitement. This leaves the other family members anxiously waiting to share in the joy and relief upon reunion. More than being a color photograph, it was taking a television light to burst the prevalent emotions locked behind walls, which made Lori Thomas's unrestrained joy at having rejoined her husband Jerry after 3 long years and 9 months. The photograph, taken by Associated Press photographer Slava Salveter on March 17, 1973, at Travis Air Force Base in California, would later depict the end of the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War, encapsulating raw emotion that not everyone had survived war intact. Number 21. Bamboo that grew up during the pandemic. The picture above depicts a bamboo grove with many tourists' scratches and marks all over, giving the total scene a worn look and altered change. The center in the picture is the unscathed bamboo stalk, greenish and free from engraving. It has probably been growing through the pandemic when tourism and human activators had reduced to minimal action. This is such a simple tale of how nature heals, prospers, with zero intervention from man, scarred and pristine bamboo in this case. This also serves as pictorial evidence of the ecosystems that could thrive and grow lush and green when left untouched, and with how human presence, particularly in high tourist populated areas, would leave lasting marks on the natural environment. The undeveloped bamboo represents the resilience of nature and its ability to recover in time and space as a barrier from human interference. Number 20. Peter Ostrom as Charlie in Willy Wonka.
Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you all.
Would you come forward, please?
The photograph is a side-by-side comparison in obvious then and now, and on the left is young Ostrom in his iconic role as Charlie Bucket from the 1971 film Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, holding the golden ticket, full of pure joy that forever feels cinematic history. On the right is the much more mature Peter Ostrom, smiling warmly while dressed casually in a blue checkered shirt, looking as though he is quite content with his life today. This is interestingly tied into the fact that Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was indeed the only acting role Peter Ostrom ever had. Ostrom is a veterinarian, but he also receives small royalty checks, $10, $11 every 3 months from the movie in which he did his first work as a veterinarian. He was living in the big movie world, but he is hardworking and dedicated to his profession as a veterinarian. Number 19. Behind Closed Doors. In this photo, we see Elizabeth and Bengt, a couple Donna Ferrato met in the course of a photography assignment on Rich Swingers. One night in 1982, she was photographing in the suburban home of a couple that lit up during an argument and captured the moment Elizabeth was beaten by her mate. Many times, Donna could not get the pictures published, as editors refused to run the images. However, in a firm resolve to expose such disgust, she authored a book called Living with the Enemy in 1991. The book recorded stories of domestic violence and their aftermath. She brought the world out of its shell after years of silence on the subject. Ferrato's work was important in bringing more attention to domestic violence, in part because of the attention that the work brought to this difficult issue. Congress passed the Violence Against Women Act in 1994. Number 18. News program films on the top of a building. The shot is of a peculiar setting for news broadcasting, coming from a program called MBC News in Korea. A glance at the top portion of the shot shows the actual filming location on the rooftop of a high-rise building. It has a minuscule outdoor set, complete with a desk and lighting equipment, and crew members could be seen in the area. The setting is dangling at the edge of the building, which gives a panoramic view of the real-world backdrop of the city below. At the bottom of this image, 2 screen caps from within the broadcast itself show how the anchors go on to report the news. These broadcasts, at first glance, might seem to use the usual green screen effect with the cityscape behind the broadcasters. However, the uppermost image reveals otherwise. The program is not using a green screen, but the actual live view of the city capturing it, which gives this broadcast an authentic background. Number 17. A miner at his evening meal in 1937. The photo captures the image of a coal miner seated at the dinner table after work, covered in dust and coal, facing his presumed wife, whose face shines towards him with love and concern. The place speaks very well about the shabby shelter in this area, with suspended laundry over it, a bare dinner of tables, and quite old wallpaper over there. Slung bag attached and a framed picture nicely adds to the homey effect. The image relates well to the caption, "A Miter and His Evening Meal, 1937, as it pictures vividly the life of a coal miner through the era of the Great Depression. Coal miners are renowned for their labor-intensive profession, which would have most left them returning home weary and dirty. This picture, therefore, captures a relief point in the miner's day and symbolizes the hardships and resilience of working-class families during that particular era. Number 16. Tragedy by the Sea. This photo captures a heartbreaking yet sad moment on an empty beach. A couple stands by the shore, embracing each other while big waves crash against the sand. The scene is peaceful, but the emotional load is immense. This was taken by LA Times photographer John Gaunt in spring 1954. The couple's 19-month-old son had strayed from their yard and lost himself into the ocean earlier that day, and they are shown in the picture grappling with the unbearable reality of loss. Body language says 1,000 words, the arm around the woman, the leaning into him, as they confront the vast, heedless sea that snatched away their child. This peaceful beach makes this photograph even more compelling by juxtaposing it with this overwhelming sorrow. This heart-wrenching scene, snapped by Gaunt, won the Pulitzer Prize as it appeared on the front page of Los Angeles Times. It took its position as a representation of human vulnerability and the fallible tragedies that life brings. Number 15. A 60-pound pumpkin impaled on the top of a spire at Cornell University in 1997. This is a picture of a very tall, old building spire likely to be a clock tower or something similar. Its spire is metallic with a triangle-patterned finish. At the very tip, though, is a strange object. A large pumpkin is sitting right on top. In the background, an airplane can be seen flying across a clear backdrop of the sky. The picture speaks to a much more well-known mystery of 1997 at Cornell University, where a 60-pound pumpkin mysteriously was impaled atop the 173-foot spire of McGraw Tower, an iconic campus structure. According to accounts, the feat had been overnight, sending the Cornell community into bewilderment. Despite much speculation, no one could fully explain how the pumpkin got there due to the height and logistical challenges in reaching that spot. The pumpkin incident at Cornell University remains a mystery, with theories ranging from secretive stunts to elaborate engineering scenarios, adding to its legendary status in the university's history. Number 14. Oscar the Cat. The picture shows a white cat covered by gray fur on the side of a published paper or document headed "A Day in the Life of Oscar the Cat." The cat in the photograph bears an expression that is very calm and looks directly at the camera. The story features a photo of the same cat, and it nearly makes him feature because he is thought to be significant. This has to do with the Oscar story, a cat picked up by a nursing home that became famous for his extraordinary ability to sense when the old folks had reached the end. He would spend some of his time with the dying ones as comfort in their final moments. His powers of precognition to the impending death were highly publicized, since he accurately predicted more than 100 deaths by sitting with the residents during their last hours. Oscar became a symbol of comfort and mystery, bringing peace to patients and their families. Number 13. The 3 unsung heroes of Chernobyl. This photograph shows Alexei Ananenko, left of center, Valery Bespalov, center, and Boris Baranov, right. 3 men whose actions during the Chernobyl disaster in 1986 prevented an even greater catastrophe. 10 days after the meltdown, the plant's water cooling system had failed, creating a pool beneath the highly radioactive reactor. This material could then, without interference, have passed through the remaining barriers and fallen into the pool. It would probably have caused enormous steam explosions, which would radiate to large areas of Europe, Asia, and Africa. We can see in the photograph engineer Alexei Ananenko wearing protective gear, with soldiers Valery Bespalov and Boris Baranov, who volunteered to dive into the waters and drain the fluid beneath the reactor. Their effort was courageous and proved successful in averting a much larger disaster. Even at this juncture, when all damage due to Chernobyl was havoc, these men prevented the situation from getting any worse. Miraculously, against all odds, all 3 of them survived the mission. Number 12. Soviet military officer Stanislav Petrov, 1983. This picture appears to represent 2 photos of the very same person at 2 different ages. The man on the left is a young Soviet military officer in uniform, and the man on the right is an older version of that same fellow, holding what appear to be the trophy or award he's received. This is Stanislav Petrov, a Soviet military officer who, quite by accident, prevented a nuclear exchange between the United States and the Soviet Union in September 1983. Then, Petrov was standing watching in a command center monitoring the Soviet Union's early warning systems, which reported the launch of 5 American nuclear missiles. Petrov, despite being tasked with reporting an imminent attack to the Soviet Union, decided to ignore the warning and not report it to his superiors. This decision prevented a possible nuclear escalation, as the false alarm was actually caused by a malfunction in the satellite warning system. Number 11. The door is real. The rest is graffiti. It's an abandoned building picture where, in the background, it shows a genuine door on the left side and a dramatic art of graffiti that fills most of the wall. The graffiti imitates broken or 3-dimensional windows, which creates an optical illusion as if the wall was damaged, exposing another room behind it. The realism and depth by the artist enhance the illusion. The surrounding environment has been left in disarray, with debris on the floor, overgrown plants, and cracks in plaster, where we sense the feeling of decay. The image suggests that the door is real, but the rest is graffiti. The artist painted fake 3-dimensional shapes on a flat wall, creating an illusion of the building's structure breaking away. This trompe-l'oeil technique blends reality with art, causing the viewer to question the balance between reality and the painted illusion. The image connects the idea of a real door with a purely artistic illusion. Number 10. Bill Gates' office has a periodic table. This picture depicts a periodic table arrangement, taking the form whereby each element is represented by a physical sample within a compartment. The feature element, Ne, neon, glows red, which describes its luminescence due to change by electricity. The table is arranged neatly, and the elements clearly marked their identity and atomic number, which produces a visually attractive scientific display. In the top left corner, there is a sort of inset of Bill Gates' face associated with the fact that Gates himself, being an enthusiast for space and innovative natures, has an identical periodic table complete with actual element samples in his office. The display showcases Gates' admiration for chemistry and technology, with his periodic table serving as the foundation for modern advancements like computing and energy. Owning this unique artifact reflects Gates' intellectual curiosity and appreciation for the physical sciences, reflecting his deep investment in technological and environmental innovation. Number 9. The hand wash sink in Japanese toilets. A smart and eco-friendly toilet design is presented. A little sink attached at the top of the toilet tank, faucet, and soap dispenser. which would be placed on the cover of the tank in order to clean hands after using the toilet. Water that is drawn to and used from hand washing is not wasted, but drained into the toilet tank below. It is retained there for reusability in the next flush. So, this two-in-one system unites two functions, hand washing and toilet flushing, with one goal in mind: maximizing water conservation through efficiency. The toilet sink is very common in Japan, as this is one of their long-standing policies to curtail waste in the water. The concept seems simple, but yields great results. Water used to wash hands is then used to fill the flush tank. Within time, it saves millions of liters every year, thereby being a significant contribution to sustainability. Number 8. Al Capone. These two images of Al Capone are photographed in the standard mugshot composition. Left as a profile shot and right as a front face shot. Dressed formally, including suit and tie, Capone is shown here with a somber face, and the code C28169 can be found on his suit in the profile image to indicate it is a criminal identification photograph. Notorious Chicago gangster Al Capone of the Prohibition era did much for public health. Following his niece's falling ill from poisonous milk, Capone advocated for legislation that would insist on the inclusion of expiration dates on milk bottles. His actions proved to safeguard children and expectant mothers from contaminated milk, which proved to be an unexpected legacy. Such was the impact that it led to one of the earliest pushes for food safety regulation in the United States, and has an influence on the standard use of expiration dates on perishable food products like milk. Number 7. Mosaics of a Roman villa were found under a vineyard in Negrar, Italy. It is a photo of a trench dug into the earth, exposing the detailed part of a preserved Roman mosaic floor. It is beautiful, intricate geometric patterns, such as interlocking circles, waves, and scrollwork, all very common in Roman villa designs. The bright patterns of teeny tesserae speak of luxury and high craftsmanship, as indeed is a typical Roman mosaics from the imperial period. The discovery made in Negrar, Italy, revealed the detailed craftsmanship of the Roman Empire, as well as the deep historical layers beneath modern Italy. The buried villa, likely dated to the 3rd or 4th century AD, was an elegant estate that once lived up to its splendor with mosaics decorating the floors of the living quarters. This discovery opens a vision of Roman architecture, rural life, and art, and offers potential further exploration of the site, which had been buried under vineyard soil for centuries until recently rediscovered. Number 6. Train station has a mystery vending machine. The mystery-o-matic vending machine in the train station, formed from dark designs and electrified patterns, has inside the packages of all shapes wrapped up and labeled. Customers cannot see what they get, though instead they can buy unclaimed packages from corresponding delivery lockers by the side. The machine resells packages that were not collected by their destinations, selling them to the general public. Buyers choose packages by size and appearance, but the buyers don't know what they are getting until they open the packages. An element of surprise and mystery. The package can include gadgets of intrinsic value or more mundane and thus ordinary, sometimes even something else. The primary function of the vending machine is to attract travelers by transforming stranded packages into exciting, risk-based purchases. Number 5. The Thatcher effect or Thatcher illusion. The Thatcher illusion is a cognitive effect in which the distorted facial features of a face that is presented upside down are unclear in the brain. For the first time, this phenomenon was demonstrated in 1980 by Peter Thompson using the portrait of the then Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher. The image contains 4 faces all upside down which seem normal on a cursory glance because the brain fights to find facial anomalies when the face is upside down. Facial recognition processes are sensitive to being holistically linked together for upright faces. The Thatcher effect is seen when a face is set upside down, so that the brain, in effect, loses the ability to understand and process facial relationships. Distortions aren't noticed when the whole face is upside down, but obvious if flipped back upright because they involve features such as eyes and mouth and thus point to the importance of facial orientation in visual perception. Number 4. South Sudanese model Nayakim Gatwech. There is a lady, elegantly seated on a bed, holding a newspaper in one of her hands. She is dressed in an elegant black dress with the shoulder uncovered and has her legs crossed. Her complexion is extremely dark to create excellent contrast with the lighter surroundings and exudes sophistication. The lady appears to be in a carefree mood as the glass of red wine appears to accompany her side by side on the table. This is Nayakim Gatwech, a South Sudanese model who is often termed as the Queen of the Dark. Her deep, dark tones, conditioned by high melanin production, make her popular in the modeling world and an activist for embracing dark skin. The lady glows and stands in beauty against conformity as her confident winning smile emphasizes a form of empowerment. Gatwech used her chance to speak out against colorism while bringing other people to look to pride in their ideal feature. The photography also shows potency alongside beauty. Number 3. Aerial picture of an uncontacted Amazon tribe. A bird's eye view of a circular village with interlinked structures with thatched roofs surrounded by an open central area and large huts forming a continuous circle with gaps between sections. It appears to be kind of a communal area in the center, and there are a few small figures, these are people from the village, probably passing and moving about in this open area. The environment is dense with forests, and thus this appears to be located deep in a remote area. The isolated Amazon tribes, as illustrated in the picture with round huts, have the most isolated way of living. Due to their vulnerability to harm or infections caused by exposure to outsiders, those viewing the indigenous people usually do so from afar. An aerial view gives much emphasis to their isolated life and self-sufficiency without dense forest cover, making them vulnerable to existing threats such as deforestation and encroachment. Their fragile existence is underlined by the location within dense forest cover and the ongoing threats. Number 2. Chicago skyline visible from nearly 50 miles away in Indiana Dunes sunset. The moment the sun sinks into the horizon, shading over a large body of water is captured in this image. Silhouettes in the foreground include people sitting and standing, all watching the serenity unfold. The deep orange, pink, and purple hues give way to each other as the sun sinks further into the sky. The visual illusion created by atmospheric conditions is what is most captivating. The skyline of Chicago is more than 50 miles away and can be dimly seen inside the sun. This is so because the light is bent and curved back into view from the horizon by the curvature of the Earth and some weather conditions, making distant objects like the skyline appear like they rise out of the horizon. Silhouettes of the skyscrapers in Chicago stand tall against the golden glow of the setting sun, and the surreal outline of these buildings gives a surreal touch to the ethereal beauty of the moment. Number 1. New aerial photos show development of a 105-mile-long Saudi Arabia city called The Line. This shot is of the vast, open desert terrain with a very prominent and slim road cutting all the way across its length. The shot appears aerial in scope as construction equipment and vehicles are captured, spread over several miles of land. The area looks heavily under construction as long trenches and raised grounds line along each side. It is almost endless, stretching out to the horizon in places, running along ridges and uneven patches of desert land. It manages an air of monumental scale. The aerial view of The Line, a proposed 105-mile-long city in Saudi Arabia, reflects the ambitious NEOM project. The futuristic city concept aims to merge urban life with minimal environmental impact, running on no cars or streets. Its core values emphasize sustainability with renewable energy and advanced technology. The landscape scale and distance reflect the vision of building a linear city in the desert, reflecting the world's most ambitious urban development plans. And there you have it, 26 of the most interesting photos we could find. If you enjoyed this journey through time, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.